good evening, Sara Ann. It's such a lovely pleasure to introduce you here to the tribe and have you with us this evening, or this morning in your
It
case.
is, yes. Well, it's afternoon now.
Afternoon, yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's great
it's
to
12
be,
o'clock there.
yes. Yep.
Fantastic.
It's it's great to be here. So thank you so much for having me.
Oh, pleasure. So, um, yeah, so first of all, this is Sara Ann. Sara Ann has an amazing story. I haven't really told the tribe that much about you. Obviously, certain people will know from my January project or different boot camps I've done where I've mentioned you and your jewelry, your malas, and your bracelet. And you know what? I normally have them on every day. I just don't have them on today.
It's okay.
But I had them on yesterday. You can see them on most of my lives, everybody. Sara Ann makes the most beautiful jewelry with crystals and malas as well. But you have an incredible story behind all of that, how you came to be doing that. And so maybe you'd like to share with everybody your story about how you came to be doing that.
Sure. Where would you like me to start?
Well, it's true. You used to work for the FBI. You were a big gun in the FBI,
I was a big gun in the FBI, yes.
and you kind of had enough of it, didn't you?
Yes, very much. hmm
And so
Yeah.
you decided enough was enough, and
Decided enough was enough. I worked for the FBI for 14 years, and I started working there when I was 24. And I just really got to a place in my life when I was in my mid 30s where, I'd done all the things that I was supposed to do, and I was living life the way I was supposed to live life. I was doing all the responsible adult grown up things. And I just found myself in this really miserable place. I wasn't happy. I wasn't enjoying life. I was working all of the time. And while I enjoyed aspects of my job, there were many days where I would drive home after working a 12 or a 14-hour day. And I was like, why am I doing this? Like, what is the purpose behind what I'm doing? Because it felt
yeah,
so lonely and empty and pointless, really. Um, and while I know there was definitely good in the things that I was doing, it just didn't fill me up in the way that I believed that it would fill me up once I had arrived at that place, right? And
yeah.
so I I had attended an event in January of 2015. I really had reached the end of my rope, if you will. And I had gone to this event that I knew nothing about. I had no idea what we were going to be doing, what was going to be happening. I knew nothing. All I knew is that I was in a pretty dark place, and a friend of mine had gone to this event, and she came back a whole new person, and I wanted to feel half as good as she felt.
Oh, that's lovely.
That's all I knew. And so I went, not having a clue what we would be doing. I had zero expectations because I really knew nothing about it. And it changed my whole world. I left that event knowing that I was going to quit my job. I actually realized that I had to quit my job, that it wasn't an option, because forever I had wanted to create love in my life, and I wanted to be loved, and I wanted to experience love in a whole different way, and not just in a romantic intimate relationship, but just in friendships with my family, in all of my relationships in life. And I really felt like I never experienced it, and I always felt like there was something wrong with me. Like, what's wrong with
Oh,
me, and why can't I have a normal relationship? And when I was at that event, I realized that there was nothing wrong with me. And that the world life that I had chosen was a very dark path, and it didn't feel good to me anymore. And it really never felt good to me anymore, but I was completely unaware of what I
Yeah.
had chosen and what was really happening. And
Yeah.
so I was like, wow, I get to decide, I get to choose, I get to create whatever I want to create, however I want to create it. I don't have to do all these things that I had always believed I had to do in order to have the right life. And so I was like, okay, I can do it. And if I want to create the life that I say I want to create, I cannot stay in this job. It's not possible. It's not an option for me. And so
Yeah.
I left with a goal. That was January 2015. My goal was to quit my job by December 31st of 2015. And I didn't quite make that, but I did quit. My last official day was April 15th of 2016.
Wow.
Yep.
That's amazing.
So, and I've been on a path of my whole intention with my new life was really just to create love. I did a lot of healing. I knew during that year, my last year of working, I knew that I needed to do a lot of healing of my own self so that I could help other people heal. And I knew that if I was feeling this way, I knew there were so many other people in the world that were feeling the same way that I was feeling. And
Yeah.
so it was really my goal to discover and uncover ways that can help people get out of that place of feeling that they can't have what they want, they can't do what they want to do, they can't have certain things because of certain reasons, because it's all crap we make up in our own brain. And
Yeah.
so I did a ton of healing. And every single time when it came back to my intention of the healing, it was just love. Like I wanted my whole life to just be filled with love in every aspect. I wanted every relationship to be fun and enjoyable and filled with love. That was it. And
Beautiful.
I kind of had a theme. If it wasn't fun and enjoyable and filled with love, then I wasn't participating in it, whether it was an activity or
Yeah.
whatever, a friendship, a relationship, whatever it was just really, that was kind of my motto, because I was done doing things that just didn't feel good anymore.
Yeah. Oh, that's so amazing. It's such an amazing story. And so you went on then, your plan was to create the jewelry, is that right?
No, my initial plan, I had no intention of creating jewelry. So when I left, I had created a 6-week program that I was teaching in person and online. And then I also facilitate women's weekend retreats. And so I was doing that as well. And then I was also doing different workshops around Denver. I was living in Denver, Colorado at the time. And so I was just doing all kinds of coaching and facilitating workshops and women's retreats. And for my own self, part of my own journey, I took a mala workshop to make my own mala. Didn't even know what a mala was, had no
Yeah.
idea what I was doing. I was supporting my friend's new yoga studio,
Right.
and I loved it. I loved creating it. I loved the woman who taught it, was amazing. She's from Nepal, and she was incredible. And so I was like, okay, this is what I like. I love this. Like, I love doing this. And so then I had friends who wanted their own mala, and they wanted me to help them make it. And so I was like, okay. So we did that. And then as that happened and they started wearing theirs, they started getting compliments, and people were like, oh, where did you get that? And they're like, oh, Sara Ann helped us make it. And they're like, well, we want one. And
Yeah.
then people started offering to pay me to make theirs because they didn't want to make it. They wanted one, but they didn't want to make it themselves. They wanted me to make it. And then it just kind of snowballed from there. And before I knew it, I was selling anywhere between 20 and 40 malas a month. And people were messaging me from all over the place because wanting a piece. Their friend had gotten a piece for me and they wanted a piece, like all kinds of stuff. People asking me to come to their home to do mala workshops with their friends,
Wow.
all kinds of stuff. And I was like, okay, I guess I have a jewelry business now.
Yeah, and your jewelry is absolutely beautiful. I just want to stop you there for 1 second because somebody has asked. Now I can't see who has asked, but in the messages, I don't know if you can see, but people are able to type messages. Sara Ann, what did the event turn out to be that changed everything? So what was the event that you went to?
Okay, so the event, sadly it no longer exists, but it was called Possibilities in Paradise, and it was in Key West, Florida.
Oh,
And
that's Paul just said it was Wendy who asked the question, and Wendy lives in Florida.
oh, okay. Well, yes,
Sorry, Wendy, I couldn't see your name there.
yes, it was in Key West, Florida, and it started on a Friday evening and it ended on a Sunday evening, and the whole intention, the two people who created the event kind of created it off of the heels of it attending Mike Dooley's Train the Trainer events. And
Yeah,
so the philosophy was a lot of the infinite possibilities philosophy from,
which is amazing.
yeah. And so a lot of the people who spoke really spoke into the idea and philosophy of infinite possibilities and all of that. And really, the thing that for me, the woman is a man and a woman who created the event, and the woman had been, well, she still is, a divorce attorney. And every time she spoke, I was just like, oh my God, like this woman is living my life. Like I am living this woman's life. Like I
Mm.
resonated so much with everything that she said. And it felt really amazing to me because there were many times where I would have those feelings. And if I ever brought them up to any of my coworkers or any of my friends, most of the time they look at me like I was crazy. And so I just felt like the weirdo who like nobody could relate to because like they were all tougher than I was. I don't know. It was very weird. And so being at that event, I was like, oh my God. And so really there was so much power in her sharing all of the things that she was willing to share
Yeah,
because it really felt, I totally resonated, and it
yeah,
just
that's
really,
amazing.
really shifted how I started to think, really.
Yeah, yeah, amazing. That's so beautiful. So thank you. And Wendy said thank you for answering her question there.
You're
I'm
welcome.
just going to check if there's any other ones there at the minute. So if you guys do have questions, please feel free to type them in for Sara Ann. So and I mean all your pieces of jewelry. You're wearing some of your jewelry. Thankfully, I swear. I feel so bad that I'm not wearing it this evening. But
Uh,
um
That's
um.
good.
Do you want to show people some of your jewelry? I know each piece on the bracelets has a little I don't know what you call it in the middle that says love on it as well.
The love bead. Yes.
The
Yes.
love.
So everything that I do, obviously, it has to do with love.
Yeah,
So I have 4 of the bracelets on right now. So if you
they're
can
beautiful.
see them.
Yeah, yeah, we can see.
Um, all of my bracelets have a love bead, and they all have 4 lava beads so that you can put any essential oils that you want to carry along with you throughout the day. You can do that on the lava beads without ruining. Sometimes the oils can ruin the stones. So, but the lava beads, the lava stones are, they're unable to be ruined.
Yeah.
So they're
They're the
pretty
little black
durable.
porous ones, right?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. They're these ones. If you can see
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. So they're very porous and you can't ruin them. It's
Yeah.
impossible really to ruin them. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
Yep.
fantastic. So, yeah, you make beautiful pieces, and that's wonderful. It's so fantastic that that all took off for you. And just
Yeah.
on another note, you have a couple of you have your pieces in some art exhibition.
I do, yes. So
Isn't that
I
correct?
hear what's that?
Isn't that correct?
Yes. Yep. I have here in California, I have my jewelry in a cafe and in a salon. And then in near Aspen, Colorado, I have my jewelry in an art gallery. And, I went there this summer to set up my display and to meet the owners and, be a part of some of their fun grand opening events that they were having. And I was like, I'm used to having like the most expensive pieces when I go and do shows. And I way had the least expensive pieces at this art gallery. It was a very high-end art gallery. I think outside of my jewelry, the least expensive thing was like $1,000 in there. Like
Wow.
everything was like it was a lot. And so I was like, oh wow, like I'm not really sure how this is gonna go. And amazingly, it has been. I've had to replace jewelry twice to her already, and it's only been since July 1st.
That's
So
amazing.
yeah,
Congratulations. That's
really
fantastic.
incredible. Thank you. Yeah, that it feels really good to, you know, be here in California living my life and knowing that, my love is going out into the world in Colorado and I don't have
Yeah,
to be there.
that's amazing.
Mm.
Paul has said he can add images to the edit for the playback if Sarah Ann has some she would like me to show.
Okay.
But
People can also go check out my website if you want to see any of the pieces that I have.
you,
Also, my room is filled with my jewelry, so sometimes it's easier to see stuff in those places as well. And
yeah.
recently, I started making. If you go to my Facebook or my Instagram page, you'll see I started
What's your
this summer.
website, Sarah Ann? What's your website for people?
The website is saraann.love, of course.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, because you are a little bit breaking up from time to time, but we are kind of getting what you're saying.
Okay, sorry about that.
No, that's okay. It's one of those things, isn't it? There's not a lot we can do about it. It's
I
technology.
I know. So yeah, and it's not on my website, but I recently started making jewelry with using the raw stones and cutting them into really unique shapes, and then putting them into silver to make necklaces and rings and things like that.
Beautiful.
So yeah,
Yeah,
so that's been really fun as well.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much for sharing that story with us because it's such an interesting story of, it's a 360-degree turn from where you were a few years ago to where you are now.
Yes.
So I know that you wanted to talk to the tribe today about forgiveness and how important forgiveness is.
Yes. Yes. Um, yeah, it's really, along this journey, like a lot of people when they meet me now, and it's as I look back and reflect back, I've really been on this road for about 3.5 years. And even when I look back to where I was a year ago, I'm like, wow, I was in such a different place a year ago. And then when I think to where I was 2 years ago, I'm like, wow.
Yeah,
and, and then to think back to where I was before all of this began, it's like, wow, like I feel like that life is almost unrecognizable to me now. And so a lot of people are in complete shock and disbelief when I tell them that I used to be an FBI agent
yeah,
because they just can't imagine how right? That I was able to do that
Yeah.
job,
Sure.
being who I am now, right?
Yeah.
And I always tell them, I'm like, the person that I am now was not the FBI agent.
No, completely different. And it's so funny that I wanted to be an FBI agent. I actually almost went and did criminal psychology years ago. It's just so
Yeah,
crazy.
I know. Yeah, and I am I mean, yes, I am still me, and I do believe that this me, like who I am now, like it was always who I was on the inside, but I completely changed how and who I was on the outside, right? And so
Yeah.
over the last 3.5 years, it's really been truly, I mean, I know this sounds very cliche, but it's really like just peeling back all of those layers of
Yes.
of who I believed I needed to be in order to fit into the world or into the box that I thought I needed to be in order to be living life the right way. And so, in the process of peeling back all of those layers and taking the masks off and just allowing myself to be me, a huge, 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 huge component was forgiveness. And
Yes.
I do forgiveness work with other people, but I for my own self, I would say every 6 months I revisit my own forgiveness work because it is never ending. There is never a place where it's like, oh, well, I've done that and that's complete. I can move on now. We are always changing and evolving and growing and expanding. And
Absolutely.
so for my own self, it's like I know I need to continue down that road of forgiveness, and that has been it's been incredibly challenging at
Yeah.
times, right? And sometimes people just aren't ready to forgive, and for me there have been people, very significant people in my life, that I've needed to forgive for my own self, not for them but for me.
Yes. Yes.
And and then getting to a place where I could forgive myself, right? And stop beating myself up about all of these mistakes that I believe that I had made or whatever,
Yes.
and
Yes.
forgive myself and know that, like, I am exactly where I am meant to be, and every single thing that has happened in my life was necessary. Even the really crappy, awful, horrible things that
Yes.
I would never wish upon anybody, that I would never desire to go through ever again in my life. I truly can look back at them because of all the forgiveness work I've done, and really honestly be grateful that those
Yes.
experiences were a part of my past, because had they not been a part of my past, there's a lot of where I am right now where it wouldn't be the same, and I wouldn't be nearly as grateful as I am now to be living the life I'm living. So,
Absolutely. Yeah, that's beautiful.
yeah, so I feel like no matter where anybody is on their journey, and no matter how much work you have done or not done, I
Oh, you're breaking up.
cannot encourage you all. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Sorry, you were breaking up quite a bit there.
That's okay. Um,
No matter
yeah,
where anybody is on their journey.
no matter where anybody is on their journey, I just really cannot recommend enough to really sit down and continue doing the forgiveness work. And if you've never done forgiveness work, I cannot encourage you enough to begin. And you don't, you you can do it on your own. There's tons of ways that you can get involved and that you can begin your own forgiveness journey, but I cannot express to you all enough how important that piece is to the whole puzzle of just being
So
free. Like,
So
freeing
how
your.
do they go about it, Sara Ann?
Well, I mean, I'm happy to talk with anybody. I have my own part of my 6-week program that I
Okay.
created. There is a huge oh, I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm breaking up.
Do you have any other apps open on your phone?
I do not. No.
No. I don't know. Maybe it's just the weather. It's just sometimes Wi-Fi signals are good and sometimes they're not. Don't worry too much. So start that again. Sorry, you said you have your own 6-week
So
program.
I have my own 6-week program that a huge component of that is forgiveness. And so I've actually done with many people, I've walked many people through their own forgiveness process. And for me, it's really everybody. I cater it specifically to the individual's needs because we all need something different.
Yeah.
It is definitely not a one size fits all operation,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
We've all been through different things and we've all had our own experiences. And so we all need to care for ourselves and nurture ourselves in different ways. So that with anyone that's interested. And also there are several different books out there, that you can read about forgiveness, because I know in my experience of doing this work, I know the biggest hang up is for anybody who has not done any forgiveness work. A huge thing is that either they don't want to forgive the person, really caused them this pain and this hurt and this suffering that they're experiencing, and getting to the place where you can see that it's not about the other person, like it's about you. And
Right.
so I cannot. I will do a post later on today in the group with some suggestions of some books.
Excellent. Just to let you know, Dawn has
To
said thank you,
help
Sara.
people.
Just to let you know, Dawn has said, Sara, thank
Say
you
it again.
very much, that he has to run.
Oh, you're welcome. My pleasure.
So you'll put up some books that
Yeah.
you would recommend. That would be
Yes.
fantastic. Yeah.
So we'll put up some books later today. Well, for all of you, it'll be tomorrow, but about some books that I would recommend looking into and reading, just to kind of get yourself into the space of understanding why forgiveness is important for you, and that it is all about you. It's far less about the other person. It's not about the other person at all, like not even a little bit. It's all
Yeah.
about you.
Yeah. I think it was Paul that asked this question, Sara Ann. You mentioned using malas while meditating on your website. Yes, it was Paul. How do you do this? I presume it's just that you hold the malas the same way you would if you were holding a crystal, if you were meditating, to intensify the actual meditation. Would that be correct?
That is correct. And then also so in the traditional sense of the mala, they were used originally way back when for meditation, for mantra meditation. And so
Right.
if you have a mantra that you use, that you say and repeat to yourself regularly, an I am statement or anything of that nature, you can use the mala 108 times every single day during your meditation. Well, pretty soon that statement is going to really become you, right? It's going to become,
Mm-hmm.
you will embody that statement. And so you can also use the beads in that fashion to help you. You start at the guru bead at one end, and then you go all the way around. And when you get back to the guru bead, you know that you have recited that mantra 108 times.
Right. Okay. And what's the significance then
So,
of 108?
so there is a ton of significance to the number
Okay.
100. So way back when in the whole traditional sense. So 108, there's 9 planets and there's 12 houses. 9 times 12 is 108. And it is said that out of our heart, there's 108 energetic lines that expand from our heart, from the center of our being. And so that is a huge significance in it. Also, I always mix this up, so I'm not even going to attempt to say it. But there is the distances between the moon and the sun and the planet Earth. There, a lot of the distance of the moon and the Earth is a divisible number by 108.
Okay. You're still breaking up a little bit, but we get it. So that's a lot of significance, all right.
So that makes sense.
Yeah. Thank
So,
you for sharing.
Oh, you're welcome. My pleasure.
Paul has just said there as well. What is it, Paul? 10% of all proceeds from Sara Ann's Mala's bracelets will go directly to sponsoring dogs with Paul's what? Oh, service dogs.
Yes, the organization is called Positive Teams, and my goal this year is it costs $5,000 to sponsor a dog, and the organization trains the dog and gets the dog all prepared and ready, and then it goes to a military veteran that is suffering from PTSD. And
Okay.
so it is my goal to raise $5,000.
Awesome. Awesome sauce here on the live. That's so generous of you.
You are you and your time and for having me on here. So
Oh, you're so welcome. I'm so sorry we had so much technical issues, and you'll see what I mean on the replay because you'll be able to. And I know that you can't see me, so it must be so difficult for you because you can't even see me nodding my head or agreeing with you or anything. So it's very challenging.
it's all good.
I know, I know. So thank you so much for speaking to everybody about forgiveness and about your journey. It's lovely to have you on. And Paul has just put your website up there again for
Yes.
everybody. And Pasha said, thanks so much. That's so generous.
Yes.
He's sending you hearts. Carlos is saying thank you. And Wendy's saying thank you. Just because I don't think you can see the messages yourself, Sara Ann.
No,
Everyone is basically saying thank you
I
so
can't.
much.
You are all very welcome. I appreciate. Yes, you are all welcome, and thank you so much for having me. And also, I know I talked a bit about the jewelry, but also if there's anybody on here who has, if any of what I said to you about the forgiveness stuff resonated, or you feel like, oh geez, like I maybe need to look at that, but that feels really scary, or if anybody has any questions at all, or they want to reach out and have a conversation about it, I am happy to do so. You all can find me inside the Vibe Tribe, so just send me a Facebook message and we'll make it happen. We can have a
Brilliant.
chat about it. So
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Sara Ann. That's fantastic.
thank you so much.
Thank
I
you.
hope that you all have a beautiful, beautiful day and evening wherever in the world you are.
Yes, absolutely. And you have a fantastic day. I know you have exciting plans. So I wish you a fantastic, fantastic day with
Thank
extra sauce. And thank you so much for joining us all again.
Thank you so much.
All right. Lots of love. Namaste to you all.
Namaste. Lots of love to you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.